When I was looking up things about this film, I couldn't believe that the Rotten Tomatoes score for this film is 95%. I couldn't disagree more. Infested is a new horror film coming to the Shudder streaming service on April 26th, and I got an early screener to check out this film and let you guys know if this film is worth a watch. Now, this film is directed by Sébastien Vanicek, and this is his directorial debut. The film stars Theo Christine, Finnegan Oldfield, Jerome Niel, and Sofia Lesaffre, and it's about a bunch of residents who live in a rundown French apartment building, and they have a bunch of spiders that are rapidly reproducing. Going into Infested, I didn't know anything about this film. I just saw the poster. I didn't even know what it's about. Most of the time when I go into these Shudder films, I go in them pretty blindly because I just think that's the best way to actually go. So I didn't hear any buzz about this film and went into it pretty fresh. Now, the film, it starts out where we have a bunch of men in the desert and they're collecting these spiders, and these spiders eventually get sold off to the black market, and we're introduced to our main character named Kaleb. He buys this exotic spider off this convenience store clerk and he takes it home. The apartment that he lives in, it's very dingy, it's beat up, it's old. It does have a very unique shape. I've never seen an apartment building actually shaped like that. So that setting and the fact that this setting is in this apartment building, you can really just tell that this is something where you can really get some really good ideas and juices flowing, especially at the fact that there's going to be spiders that are going to be taking over this apartment at some point in the movie. Kaleb is also dealing with a lot too. He has to face his sister because his sister really wants to sell off this apartment complex. Their mother just died. She can't stand the fact that he has all these different exotic animals. She's deathly afraid of spiders. And we get to learn also that he wants to name this spider Rihanna, which really had me laughing. However, though, this film, it doesn't have any comedy relief. You would think that this film would be very silly, kind of over the top, and really fun for a creature feature film, but it's a very serious film in tone, and I think it really hurts the film overall because you just feel like a lot of times in this film, like it needs a little bit more energy, a little bit more spunk, and it feels like a lot of times it's spinning its wheels. A lot of the other characters, they're not very interesting whatsoever. I couldn't root for any of them. They're doing this underground selling of sneakers and they're stealing bikes, which makes them already unlikable. Kaleb really is the only one that you kind of feel for in a way. He's more of a level-headed kid while everybody else around him is very irrational. Not only are they irrational, but a lot of times in this film, they're constantly arguing about anything and everything. And when moments of scary moments that should be happening in the film should feel very terrifying, it really takes it away because these characters are constantly hollering at each other, and because they're also unlikable as well, you just want them all to die. What should be a very fun film, it turns into the biggest slog fest. Very bland. It seems like it just has no flavor to really up the antics of what's going on. It feels like at points there is a few scenes where you're like, okay, this is pretty good. I like this part. I like what they did here. A few little scares here and there, especially for those that really are afraid of spiders. I can definitely say that there's parts like that in this film, but there's just not enough of it. Kills themselves didn't feel very fresh. It didn't feel like anything was really inventing the wheel, and it didn't feel like there were certain parts where I was like, ooh, that's just too much. I never really felt like that throughout the film. Something that I did notice that obviously is a little bit suspending your disbelief, and just something that I really thought about, is it starts off obviously where it's in the desert, and that's where these spiders actually thrive and live, and then you transfer to a France climate, which France is obviously a lot colder, and they also are growing rapidly. So I had a hard time believing that they would actually thrive in a climate like that, but you kind of have to throw that by the wayside. There's also a side plot too that involves the cops, in which they don't want to let them out of the building. And I think there was some kind of messaging there that I maybe have missed, maybe between the French and the police. I'm not really sure because obviously I don't live in France and I don't know their politics. So maybe that portion I didn't really get all the way towards the end of the film. The lighting could have been a little bit better in certain places. Camera work wasn't too bad. I just felt like, though, this film felt very empty to me. It just didn't feel as fun as recently when I saw the film Sting in theaters. That one wasn't anything to really write home about, but it was a lot more fun. It definitely had a lot more moments where I was laughing, and I felt like at points I really could actually gravitate to certain characters. But with this one, I can't really say that I really cared about anyone by the time the film actually ended. So as far as the score for this film, I would give it a 1.5 out of 5. 5. However, I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you haven't checked it out, are you going to check it out on Shudder when it drops? Leave any and all comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.